As long as we have it, fuck it. Oh, can we? Do we curse? What's any rules? Anything?
I would prefer if you curse. No,
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
I'm kidding. Talk, just be you. Just be you.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I
Love
already
it.
started recording, man. I like
Good.
that, Ari Shafir did that to me once. I did his podcast, The Skeptic Tank. I went
Mm-hmm.
to his apartment, and he answers the door, invites me in. We're
Right.
talking all the way. Where do you want to sit? I sit down. We're talking for like 5 minutes, and I said to him at some point, "All right, so are we gonna?" He goes. He was asking me if I want a beer. Do you want a beer? I brought beer, so we were having a beer.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "Are we gonna start?" He goes, "Oh, we started already." Like 15 minutes later, I asked him, "We're gonna start?" He
That's
goes, "Oh, we
great.
started." When I answered the door, we started. I was like, "Holy shit! What did I say?" I had no
That's
idea what the
great.
hell I was talking about. It was being like really me. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
No edit. Make sure your girl. Make sure the girl of the day isn't listening to this.
when will we learn that the real you can never be divulged anymore, especially not now anyway? Like there's no room for even having like jokes with your friends anymore, or saying something like,
Right.
that's funny but really really bad, and they're like, oh, did somebody record that, or they document it? You know what I'm saying? I didn't mean that. And to tell you the truth, if it's a fucking joke, then it's a joke, and I don't give a shit anyway.
Right. It's so tough because it's all contextual. Like that new short I made called "You Can't Say That" with me and Greer. You saw
Oh,
that one?
I didn't see that one yet. I got it.
Oh shit! So it's called it's two comics on a bench, and this episode's called "You Can't Say That."
Well, I saw that one, two comics on the bench.
Yeah. So that episode's called "You Can't Say That" because I wanted to just say wild shit. I'm like, why can't I say this stuff? And it was like me trying to be like kind of like shifty, not shifty, but like smart about giving myself a reason where I could say shit that you can't say anymore. So like
Well, I'll answer that. I'll tell you something. I was watching that, and Greer brought up an interesting point. So let me just introduce you to our audience, and I'll circle back around.
yeah.
My guest today is a phenomenal photographer. I think of him almost like Felix Unger, because portraits are his specialty. If you remember the odd couple, Felix Unger outside the studio said portraits are specialty. He's an actor, and he's booked so many things. Evil Touch, Hunters, Daredevil, Power, just to name a few. He actually went abroad somewhere, some freaking small country, I think Albania or something.
Armenia.
Armenia, to film a TV show. He was a star. Right now, my guess is a star in another country. They're looking for him, and he'd probably get laid with every guy in that country he wants. But but he's here now. He's here with us tonight. He's also an actor. I mentioned the actor, but he's a comedian, and he's a filmmaker, and he's also a cancer survivor.
Yes.
And he's my buddy, and I love talking to him, and I hope you enjoy the conversation. His name, what's up, Perry Strong? How are
What's
you?
up, baby? Thanks for having me, Mark. Thank you.
Good, man. You look good.
Thanks.
I didn't wear my T-shirt today. I covered up.
What happened? Come on. We're the good.
I'm like, I'm 53 years old right now. You'd be surprised. How old are you? 48, 47?
45.
Well, let me tell you something. What's going to happen in the next couple of years, bro? I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do. And if you don't believe me, go look at Ronnie Coleman. Go look at Flex Wheeler. Go
Yeah.
look at Jay Cutler. Seemed to have held on to a lot of his muscle. These bodybuilders, obviously, they were all on steroids, but they're freaking deflated right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, especially when you get into your 50s.
Yeah.
I made a mistake the other day of walking past the mirror with my T-shirt on.
Come
I caught a glimpse
on,
of
you look good, man. You're aging well, dude. Don't be so hard on yourself. Come
If I
on.
had money, I would get those special mirrors. The ones that make you look good. I would put them all over the house.
You want that? What is it? The circus mirror?
I don't do filters like on my cameras, but I would do filters in my house.
Yo, I hate those filters. I hate the women with the filters. They need to stop. Girls, they taking every hard line out of it. They look like a cartoon by the time they're done with it.
People are changing their whole existence. At the end of the day, you're going to die.
Right.
The only remembrance is going to be what your social media presence was. Okay, that's what's going to be left over. And these people are altering basically history because they're changing the way they look. And you know what? fuck it, man. If that's what you want to do, and it's you're not breaking any laws, then do it. But I
Right.
have friends that, like, they've worked out their whole life. They don't have that small waist genetically.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they're more stockier guys, big necks, big arms. But now what they do is they slice right around the waist, and now all of a sudden my friend looks huge, and you can't find the picture of him. In the beginning, it looked weird because, like, on Facebook and Instagram, there'd still be pictures of the old him,
Right.
with the 38-inch waist.
Right.
Now he's got like this 30-inch waist in every picture that he has, and that's going to be the way he's remembered. Like,
Wait, he's altering this shit?
everybody, a lot of people do it. You're like a pharaoh, bro. You're gonna be able to have somebody come over and put your image on your freaking sphinx.
Oh, I love it. Hieroglyphics. I love it. That's amazing.
You could create your own legacy.
Listen, look, as a photographer, I'm learning more and more how to post-process photography, and there's software out there with AI in it, dude, where I mean, you send me a photo of you, I can suck off 20 pounds and 10 years, and it looks legit. It looks like I didn't do anything. It's crazy. It's really crazy what you could do. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, when I take photos, it's tough with the women. Like the men, you can make them look real and like hard lines, and it's except women, they will not accept. They're like, you made me look my age. You made me look, and you're like, you have to slim their face. You have to take all the hard lines out. I don't know. Why do we front so much? Why is everyone so fronting? You know what I'm saying? Everyone's just putting on like a fucking facade, like, especially now with the pandemic. Like, I know so many people are financially so screwed right now. Like so screwed. And it's like, they're like, oh yeah, no, I'm fine. They're still posting that life is great on Instagram and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Why do we front? It's like, just be real.
Because
like, yeah, go ahead.
we have a thing about beauty, and I was just watching the Preppy Murders. It's on AMC. Preppy Murder. It's about Robert Chambers. I don't. Where are you from? Originally from New York?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you remember Robert Chambers killing Jennifer Levin in Central Park?
That sounds familiar, but I don't.
Preppy
Yeah, I don't
Murder.
remember
It's a
details.
huge thing.
Right. What year was this? 80s?
1984, I think it
Okay.
happened, and then it
Yeah,
went on
I was
to
like 9.
1987 before he got freaking convicted.
Right.
Maybe it was 85. It was a huge thing. And here's the thing: Robert Chambers was so handsome, and he just it was captivating. It was like you could not. Okay, sure, he murdered a girl, but did you see him? It was. It's like a work of art from God.
It's like he killed him.
He
Like,
looks
that nigga's hot.
He's 6'3", 190 pounds, and his face is almost like it's the perfect face. You know what I'm saying?
What's his name? Robert what?
Robert Chambers.
Robert Chambers.
Yeah.
This is amazing. I mean, I was 10 years old when this happened. So I definitely don't remember being like.
That's why you probably don't remember. See, I was already like in my teens when this happened.
Right. That's a big difference.
So the thing with him was, he long story short, he wasn't really as rich as because this happened in the Upper East Side, and it gets you into that whole world on the Upper East Side. That's what this 3-part thing does.
Right.
And you know what it's like to be a rich kid, and this kid looked the part. I mean, you talk about preppy.
Oh, for sure. No, I see him right now. It's ridiculous.
And he was like, I guess if you would pick somebody for what's that guy's name? The clothing line, not Calvin Klein, Robert. Anyway, the one on the horse, Polo.
Oh, there you go, Ralph Lauren.
He could be the Ralph Lauren. He could be the Ralph Lauren guy like forever.
Yeah,
you never have to change him, right?
Yeah, he looks so rich and white. He's the only black people he knows cleans his house. This guy is.
Well, this guy murdered a girl in Central Park. He was 19.
Yeah, he looks it.
No,
yeah,
he was 20,
like
I think, and she was 18, or he was 19. She was 18, and he had a history of being a thief, a burglar. All his friends knew it. He got kicked out of every single school that he was in. It was almost like he was an athlete, though, without doing anything. You know how like you're an athlete and you keep getting excuses and you keep getting passes just so people could watch you play sports?
Yeah.
people were looking out for this kid because they didn't want nothing bad to happen to him because he was so freaking handsome.
Yeah.
Even on his reports,
Right.
the would write before they got to doing all the shit that he did that day, all the bad stuff, stealing this and doing this. They would write, Robert Chambers is a very handsome young man, charming young man. Like it just
So crazy.
Even
That's
the
crazy.
worst thing, everything that people said about him. Even the juror, one of the jurors walked in on his thing, and she goes, before she even said it, she's, "Oh my God, he's better looking in person."
Jesus.
And then they threw her right out of there.
That's pretty amazing. That way. You said he's 6'4"?
Yeah, they said 6'3", and then they said 6'4".
Yeah, you
So
told
my point is, like,
motherfuckers get all the yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
like we kind of sort of, there's this idea out there of what, like, I guess individually what we'd like to look at, or what our appearance would be like, or what. Then there's this overall perception of beauty, and we want to be able to fit in. I remember there was this poster when I used to go to my commercial agent years ago, and it was for Max Men, which was a modeling agency, and it was on the door, and it was all their annual poster, right, of all their models,
Right.
with all these boxes, and it was like their best shot going all
Right.
the way down. I looked at that, man. I said, "Fuck, I want to be on that thing."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course you. Of course you want to be there.
It's just something about it.
Yeah.
That's what
yeah,
I
man.
guess with the photography is like, people are trying to, I don't know, they have this vision in their head. There's the way you see yourself, and then there's the million other ways that every single individual that knows you sees you.
Yeah, and a lot of us have like this weird dysmorphia. Like, I was taking photos of someone recently, a beautiful girl, and it was just actually a lot. It's tough when I take photos. It's photos where I'm like, there's a few photos where I'm proud. I'm like, might be the best photo I've ever taken of any human. And the girl's like, I don't like how this is. I'm like, what's wrong with you? You look amazing. Cut the shit. Well, then of course, like, you'll get some. Then you get the girls who, they're like, I know I'm hot, and you're like, all right, calm down, relax, lady. It's always it's always the hot Russians, the fucking hot Russians.
I really love Instagram because it's given the opportunity for a lot of these beautiful women. And I'm not talking about the obvious model,
right?
For women, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That could actually make work and make money being a model. And I'm not even talking about the ones that are kind of sort of like legitimate Instagram models. Like they're not runway models, but they would be like Hooters. They really would be Hooters models.
Yeah.
Or that magazine that was coming out just for men. I forget what it was. It wasn't dirty, but I forget.
Yeah.
Maxim.
Oh, Maxim. Right. Yeah.
Like one of those girls.
Right.
And then there's the next tier under them. Those girls deserve their place too. Like, like almost like the minor leagues. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then there's in that minor leagues, there's Division 1, there's Division 2.
Oh yeah.
There's AAA, Double A.
That's who I hang out with. I hang out with the AAA girls. They're just agreeable. You get too high up in the divisions. You just get they're less and less agreeable just in general.
I think it's a good thing that because we get in moods. We get in moods. We're human beings, and sometimes you're in the mood to see something that only it makes you believe in God. And then sometimes you see something that you're like, hey, it's a fetish, Like some girls show off their feet, some girls just show off their butt.
I never got I love a beautiful foot. A beautiful woman's foot. It's like, oh wow, that's a nice, but it's like I don't understand that stuff. I get it. I get that people have their thing, but I just never got, who is this? Of course, my buddy's trying to call me. Get out of here, decline. I've never gotten just a foot. Can you just get
foot models, and you can go to like fans only pages and pay money to see. I've heard that.
I've heard of things. I've heard OnlyFans gets interesting.
You know what? A foot is an interesting thing. It's pretty much like it's a deal breaker. You could meet the love of your life, the most beautiful girl ever. And I always had this thing: sleep with them first before you look at their feet, because after you look at their feet,
it might change.
The busted, you're gonna have to get rid of them. No matter how good everything else was,
You know what? I've never run into one with feet that bad. Even like the hardcore dancer ones. Like, I mean, it's dancers have the best bodies, but their feet are usually kind of, you know,
Yeah,
they've been through it.
it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. Like there's just some things I couldn't look at that foot forever. And just knowing that it's
Right.
under there, just knowing that it's in that shoe, it fucks
I
me up.
just give us some
Knowing that
house
that
shoes.
foot is in that shoe, that pretty high heel that you're wearing, just destroying the whole inside, it makes me angry.
You just got to keep those feet covered, man. Buy her some house shoes. You know, it's tough, man. You got a lady these days?
Yeah, man, I'm engaged. I've been engaged.
Oh shit! When did you get engaged?
It's been a while.
Okay, congrats, brother.
Yeah. I'm very happy.
Good.
Like, also my libido, it's not what it once was. I mean, you lose, and I'm not saying it in a bad way, but
Right.
you lose the that engine in you, that motor.
Right.
You know, always on a mission,
Yeah.
always looking to score. You know what I'm saying? Always flirting, always rapping. I don't have that. I'm not giving off that aura anymore.
Right. I mean, it changes. I mean, I could say it's way different from 30 to 40, and I'm sure from 40 to 50 is different. But because of around when I had all my cancer stuff, I'd gotten really it was actually before I had the reason I found out I had cancer was I had gotten sober. You know, I used to be like wild party boy, you know, and then I got sober and I was clean for, I think it was like 8 months into being sober, maybe 6. And I realized I was just unwell, like, because all of a sudden you realize you have clarity and you're like, something's not right. I was depressed. I was starting crying randomly. Like it was kind of overwhelming. And then me and my friends had always made jokes with each other about having low T. It's like, yo, son, you got that low T? You got that low T? Dude, I got a test. My testosterone score, the lowest your testosterone can ever be is a 250.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, mine was a 45.
Wow.
I was almost testosterone free. And they didn't know. They're like, we don't know how long you've been like this. So that kind of like contributes. I look back a few years before that, I was acting really erratically and kind of crazy. And I just was mentally kind of a disaster for a few years. And I had no testosterone, dude. And now that so because they checked, they're like, you have no testosterone. I was like, well, give me testosterone shots. They were like, well, your numbers are wrong in some other places. We need to check something out. And that's when they found out I had cancer.
Wow.
So
because when you said about the crying and the depressing, I thought of the movie Fight Club when the big guy, remember with the tits?
oh yeah. No, for real.
That's what he would do.
Meatloaf. That was Meatloaf playing that guy.
Yeah, he was a cancer survivor in that thing. That's why he was there. And yeah, so that's interesting that that's what happens. I guess you get into your testosterone drops so low that you almost start becoming like a woman.
Yeah, no, dude, I was a crazy bitch for a few years.
You have kind of sort of an idea of the way they think.
Yeah, no, for real. I was doing stand-up about it. I think you might have saw me do a few times. I was doing like cancer jokes. I was bringing that in there. And then, but since, then, we dealt with cancer. They gave me, testosterone. I'm prescribed testosterone. And yeah, no, I will tell you, the sex drive is crazy. It's still pretty nice. It's still pretty bonkers. You're like, oh, Jesus.
You're probably at the level you should be.
Yeah. And it's just it's
probably even a little bit extra. Maybe they put a little kick in it for you.
Yeah, it's definitely back to where it was when I was in my like late 20s. So, but in a way it's great, but in a way you're like, oh, it was kind of nice not to be thinking about this all the time. You get overwhelmed with that stuff.
Yeah, I know. If I had the choice right now and you asked me, would you like to go back to, having that freaking, always on that go and always looking, I'd be like, no, absolutely not. I'm fine right now. And plus, like, I thought of this the other day. When you're in a relationship, there's a certain amount of text messages that go out between you and your significant other all day.
Mm-hmm.
It's a constant conversation.
Right.
The idea of having that with 2 or more people is just obscene to me. Like, how could I carry on a whole other full conversation with somebody else
Yes.
daily, going back and forth with two, possibly three. Um, it just sounds so. I don't know.
Daunting.
It makes me like itchy. Like I don't want that. No.
I'll be honest, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I still do it. I'm like, cause it's not crazy. I mean, it's COVID. It's a weird time in the world right now. And I will say, like, I'm having a lot of conversations with people in general, just because, we're all home. We're all home and everyone's lonely. So I get a lot. Hey, you want to talk? You want to talk? But when you are, I mean, that's a different type of conversation than when you're texting romantically with somebody. It's constantly checking in. You're good. You're good. I'm thinking about you. I miss you. I want to screw you. Whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I guess a lot of it has to do with the fact too that I'm just not like, this texting thing is for my generation. It's something that, we've had to grow. There's a lot of
Yeah,
jokes about guys they send you 3-page texts and you text back one word.
that's right.
And then after a little while, you start realizing, that's not a right thing to do. So you
Yeah.
start adding more words to it. Before you know it, you're in conversations, and you do this periodically around the day with all your friends, your
Yep.
significant other, if you have kids, whatever, you're doing this. And then just to add, you know, another person, but that you have to legitimately be in their life
Right.
as well.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's just another thing. It's like at a younger age, I had the energy for it, but right now I don't. You
Right. Right.
know? And I'm okay with that. It's all
No,
right.
I get it. I get it.
Fine. You can have that girl's beautiful. You want her? Go ahead, take her. I'm not.
You're like, I can't be bothered with that shit.
Yeah, it's every once in a while. I guess you see somebody that you're like, wow,
Right.
But
Right.
for the most part, I'm cruising, man. I'm in my lane. I've got my like a horse. I got my
That's
thing.
great. The blinders and keep rocking. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and it gives you a little bit more time to like focus on other stuff.
Right. Right. That's what this is about.
So you got some acting credits here, man, and I'm looking at you like, who the fuck does this guy know? Your mother's a casting director?
Dude, I listen, you mean like Chris Pine? That's Chris Pine right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatchamacall, dude, I've been really lucky. Not to keep bringing up sobriety, but when I got sober, things kind of came together for me pretty quickly. I was able to find a manager a few months after that. And then she just started sending me out, and it's been 3.5 years. I just booked my 11th speaking role in the last 3.5 years. Like, I'm gonna be on the show called Dr. Death.
Mm-hmm.
It's an NBC joint, but I think it's more for Peacock. I think it's more for their streaming thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still considered under five that's all, except for the whatchamacall, except for Armenia. It's all co-star stuff. But it's great, dude. It's crazy. It's like, yeah, I've just been really lucky, man. I've been really lucky to I just said, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna focus.
Well,
Um,
I mean, being handsome doesn't help too, and you're in shape, and you have
right,
that kind of sort of like, just you could go either crazy or kill you.
right,
Then again, like a professor, all these roles that you play, the lawyer in the court,
right,
you fit that well. You look the part. You look a lot of parts.
right.
And then
I
you
am
got like
lucky.
that other guy who is already a famous actor.
Oh,
But
Jeffrey Wright. You're talking about Jeffrey Wright.
yeah, but he's a little shorter than you.
Right.
Yeah, you're like his younger brother in a way. Or his,
Yeah, yeah, dude. I mean, shit. I'd love to play that guy. I'd love to be his brother in something. That guy is. I mean, that's a beast. He's an amazing
uh,
actor.
you could also be like, uh, the black friend with all the white people in the sitcom. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
dude,
Like,
I'm always the only brother. I'm always the only one. I'm not. I mean, well, Power. That's a black show, but the rest is all. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, I love everything's good. Everything's good with the acting thing, but it's weird that, like, I'm really kind of focused on the writing and the directing right now, you
mhm.
know. Um
Yeah, you got an eye since you're a photographer. And the movies that you made 180 seconds, which is it's gotten a lot of heat. It's viral, right?
yeah, yeah, just
Tell us
hit
about that.
so 180 seconds, a short film where I play a past, excuse me, a future and present version of myself, and dude, I put this film together. I was upset about everything that I was seeing happen, in the country during COVID. Everything's kind of screwy, and I wanted to make a comment about it. And also, it was weird that, I'd seen that, I think everything shut down, say March 13th. Um, so I was like, I'd noticed by the middle of April, I'd gotten hairier and I'd gotten bigger, just in a month, because I had gotten to my lowest weight in probably a decade in January, February. I was, really about the gym, and I was really lifting crazy. And I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna play like a fat slob version of myself in a thinner, shaved, clean version. So I can carry this one thing on my own. It could just be me.
What
I
did
don't
you
have to
do?
worry
You
about it.
ate a lot one day, and then the next day you didn't eat. And then
Well, no. Well, basically, I mean, look, I went. Listen, the only thing I did in between is like I basically gained 25 pounds to play the fat version of myself. Shaved my head and face. I went and laid on the beach for 2 days, so I would I would look healthier in the face. And then when I sat and shot the other part, I only did it 2 days apart. I just sucked in. And sat there, and I wore black, versus the big, I'm fatter. I wore white, so I look even bigger. I'm trying to.
Yeah, that was smart.
So, and then I try to just act like, one guy's naive, one guy's a little bit more grizzled, has been through it, dude. Yeah, I put that out, and automatically all the, everybody in the stand-up community started spreading it around. And then Lenny Marcus sent it to Leslie Jones. She shared it, and it got like 150,000 views on her stuff, on her social media. She put it on her Twitter, she put it on her Instagram. I mean, actually, probably total, it got 200,000 among both of those. Mine, it didn't, and there was some spillover, but not a lot. And then, like, then the numbers kind of just slowly kept climbing. Whatchamacall, Kevin Hart's LOL Network, they shared it. So yeah, man, it's making the rounds. It's going to be in the Pan-African Film Festival. It's you've seen it. It's very I'm definitely saying some real shit that we couldn't, as we were saying in the beginning of the podcast, that you can't really say things anymore. I'm being very blunt in it.
Well, too.
Yeah, thank you.
It has kind of like this futuristic look to it, grainy, black and white. It's done really well.
Thank you.
So that's what I think grabs you at first. It grabbed me at first.
Right.
And then, then you listen to what's actually being said.
Right.
Just when you have something that looks so interesting, it makes you want to watch, because, our attention spans are so slow. Like I've been saying that our attention spans are so slow. I mean, so short.
Yes.
That you could be watching a meme and they have to post, wait for it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Things 10 seconds long, but you got to put waste for it on it.
Yeah, people don't mess around. And it's kind of going back. It's like, it's tough because my short on my social media, it's been seen like 600,000 times. On others people's social media, it's probably been seen another 500,000 times. But all of that, dude, my social media presence is shit. You would think after having a movie be seen, people, they don't go, oh, let me go follow this guy. Wherever they saw it, that's it. And then they let it go. Like people just digest it, and that's it. It's cool but I will say it's really cool that people did share this. It was shared.
It's rare that kind of stuff is going to happen by accident.
Right.
There's too much groundwork that has to be done for you to be able to take in all this extra activity that's now going on to your social media.
Yeah.
If you're not really on top of it or have like a brand or a plan, it's going to be wasted.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's tough because I made sure I went in. I thanked everyone who watched it on other people's stuff. Thank you for watching my film. Come check out my other stuff, because I've been uploading stuff on YouTube since the first year it started. I have stuff that's 15 years old on there. And over the time, it has a few thousand views, but the first year it might have got 100 views, because people didn't know to go look. So, Yeah, man, 180 seconds it definitely changed things. It's really nice, and everyone keeps asking when you're gonna make another one. And I'm talking to a place right now where possibly they're gonna, help me finance some more shorts. So I'm gonna try to do a whole short series soon.
Yeah, we
So
should do something together, man.
yeah, you're a
I'm
great
a good
actor,
actor.
dude.
I'm
I
a
would,
good
yeah,
actor. I
yeah,
think real simple,
yeah,
but real powerful.
yeah, man.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? I think
yeah,
we
yeah.
short. I think
Hmm.
we could blast them off. And that's another thing is, like when you with something like 180 seconds. Now maybe the next one you produce, you prepare that all that other stuff and get ready for hopefully the tsunami that's coming of
Right,
where we can push it out the way a publicist would and get it even more
right,
recognition. And
right.
you're figuring it out. You're a very smart guy. You've been in this business
Like,
for a while, and
mhm,
you spread yourself out. One of the things that I found interesting was in your video, the comedians on the bench with Greer
mhm,
Barnes.
right,
You're trying stuff out on him. Could I say this and could I say that? But
right,
right before that, he says, he goes, well, you're not really a comedian anyway.
right.
And I thought that was really interesting because as somebody who's been doing this for 23 years, stand up, right?
Mhm.
You always kind of sort of feel like somebody might say that to you. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah,
somebody might say that, and just kind of like rock your world in a way because you don't have like a certain amount of like success, like
right,
I don't even want to say Kevin Hart because he's bigger than the world. Like we could just say anybody, like
right.
you know, much more. You're not Mark Norman. You know,
Mhm, mhm.
why aren't you Mark Norman?
Right,
So it's
right,
like
right.
it's not for a lack of trying. I tell you that.
That's the truth, man. And Greer and I, as we go into shooting that, his job was to check me because
Mhm.
if you watch that, I'm saying stuff, where it's like the cancel culture mob could come after you for saying that stuff. So I needed someone to put me in my place so that he's basically that audience, whereas I'm the other audience who says I get to say what I want.
Mhm.
And the thing is, there's times where I will say this: I didn't stop doing comedy because of COVID. I stopped the November. Well, really, I did one show in December before COVID. But dude, I was, I'll even say it. Fuck it. I was at LOL, and somebody kept calling. Someone was like, "Oh yeah, Checks, you're next." The guy kept calling me Checks, and then oh god, OC turns to the guy and go, "Yo, what's the fuck is wrong with you? That's Perry, man. You know his fucking name. Why are you calling him Checks? Why are you being a piece of shit to this guy? And I'd realized I'd been going there, and I'd been staying there late at night. I'm there till 2 o'clock in the fucking morning doing stand up, and then I'm getting up at 10 o'clock in the morning to do an audition. I'm tired. I feel like crap. Maybe the set didn't go. I was like, dude, I got to focus. I kind of was like, I'm done with comedy for a while, and I walked out. I said, take me off the schedule, and I never went back. I
Mhm.
was just like, I just got angry, and I love comedy so much, but I hit the wall, and I was like, fuck this. I'm gonna focus on acting right now because I want to make money.
Yeah, but it's funny that way because a lot of times you don't get to pick what you're going to be successful in.
Right,
You're like, Johnny Depp was in a rock band. He wanted to be a musician, a rock
right,
star,
right.
and he wound up becoming a movie star instead.
Poor thing.
The guy, if you ask him what he really wanted to do, he'd tell you I want to be a rock star.
Still,
You know?
still, sure.
Yeah. So it's funny that way. And um, as far as stand-up goes, those spots and any spots that you do around the city, I think people put a lot more emphasis on them than what they really are. I try not to pay too much attention to my surroundings. By that I mean
Right,
the club. I need the
right,
people there, and I'm working on something for my this other thing,
right, for sure.
which is a story that I want to tell, or a show that a solo show that I want to do,
Right,
or an hour that I'm working on. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So
right,
it's not this idea of like getting too caught up in which place that you're in and how
right.
you're perceived. All that goes away when you actually produce something, when you
Right.
actually have something other
Yes.
than, 10 minutes of freaking jokes that you're working on. They should be like going towards somewhere. There should be a
Right.
plan, not just trying to get up as much as possible every night. And
Right. No, for sure. For sure. And and that was there. That's a time where I think it's just you're trying to get the time to prepare for this opportunity, whatever that opportunity is.
Mhm.
And I felt like I had just lost that. I'd lost that. I just was at the place where I was like, I'm not really trying new jokes. I'm kind of like feeling about it all. I was like, I gotta step away. And I felt like I loved it so much, but it was just like, I don't know, it just started hurting, And it's funny. I talked to a lot of comics, and a lot of them are like, yo, man, I don't miss comedy right now. And it's crazy, like good comics, like, like motherfuckers who, like, are like doing shit, and you're
Well,
just,
because
they're like, I don't miss it. I'm like, good for you. I don't miss it either.
a lot of us are talkers, we're entertainers.
Right.
And once you found another outlet, like for example, the podcasting, or whether you're doing the videos on Instagram or
Right.
TikToks, something that you can be creative, that you can involve yourself in,
Right.
that you're excited to showcase.
Yes.
What it really is. And stand
Yeah.
up, in a way, um, it does, as great as it is, that high that you'll never get anywhere else
That's
unless
right.
you're smoking crack.
Yeah.
I never smoked crack, but I would imagine that
It's
it's probably like
I will tell you, it's yeah. Stand up is no, they're both pretty great. That's all.
heroin. I
They're
never did
both.
heroin, but it's got to be good because people are willing to die for it.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
the truth. That's the truth. It
it's,
really is that kind of, yeah. When it's good, when stand up is good, it is crack. It's like it's
but
the best thing in the world.
unfortunately, not every moment in stand up is a moment on stage. There's everything else. There's getting to and fro the gig. There's the money. There's the checks.
The comics.
Checks. You know what I'm saying? There's all these other moments and the sacrifices that you make. And I always tell people, I'm like, hey, listen, just because you love something, don't mean it got to love you back.
That's true.
And guess what? Quit. Nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody gives a
I
shit.
hate telling people that. Quit. Nobody cares, bro.
Yeah,
We're gone. Nobody's gonna care. I'll bump into you in the street. You'll still be friends.
yeah,
You just stop doing it. The only person you're doing this for is you.
yeah.
So if you don't want to do it anymore, don't do it.
Yep. No, it's the truth, man. And it's tough. It's like you look at those sacrifices, you're like, all right, I'm going to do 2 hours of traveling to maybe get on stage. Sometimes it was maybe, towards the end, I actually was guaranteed spots, but there was years where it was like, I did 2 years. And if the trains were bad, I traveled for 3 hours to do 10 minutes one night, You're like, what the hell? I mean, that's the thing. I feel like with comedy, if your trajectory is just a straight line or it dips too many times, that's when like the people I know who love it, they stay excited. Every little bit of time, there's a little bit of a lift. It doesn't have to be huge, but it just has to elevate. Long as it keeps elevating in some way.
Yeah,
then
you
it's
know what?
good.
No, actually, that's the kiss of death too. It's better off if nothing happens for you. You never get. If you get a TV spot or two every year, or every other year, it's just a tease, man. It just keeps you going. You get click, 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 and then you're getting towards the top of the mountain, and then it go click, 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 back to earth with everybody else. Click, 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 click. You want to be able to get up there and freaking ride it out. Whoa, whoa,
Right. Yeah.
But there's
Yeah.
so many of these things,
Yeah. Yeah. This thing, I kind of miss it. I want to get on stage. That's why I made that short, and I wrote in the beginning, it's for the comics, it's like getting on stage and telling jokes, good or bad, that shit is fun. Everything else is difficult.
Yeah, I love telling stories.
You're great, dude. Yeah, you've always been.
I appreciate that.
You've always been great, and I always feel like you always had like a different grounding, because I'm not super cool with a lot of comics, and you were always just very grounded. You were like, I'm doing this and I'm doing this, and you always were like.
Yeah, it took me a long time to learn. You know who taught me? One time, real quick, Tracy Morgan. I was coming off a stage at the New York Comedy Club. I was like a brand new comic.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he's following me. Like not following me, but going up after me.
Of course.
And it was on Seymour's show on the weekend. He wasn't famous yet, Tracy Morgan. He was on SNL.
Right.
But he wasn't famous like that famous yet.
Right.
but he was still like, to us, he was like a god. So
Right.
I'm walking past him. I'm like, oh shit, there goes Tracy. And then she looks at me and goes, yo, son, just so you know, I always wanted to do better than you. This shit is an individual sport. I always want to do better than you. This is
Yeah.
an individual sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I never forgot that.
That's
And
pretty
that
cool.
sort of woke me up to the realization, I could root for you in the back, but uh, you know, I got to worry about me.
Yeah.
I'm saying I always want to do better than you.
Yeah.
You know what
Of
I'm saying?
course. Of
So
course.
once you add that competitive aspect to it, it makes it fun, challenging, and then you start really realizing what we're up against. We're trying to get on TV. We're trying to get into every club and touring,
Right.
make
Yeah.
this, make enough money to support ourselves.
Yeah. Absolutely,
But it's a
man.
really shitty freaking business, man. I can't say that enough. I mean, if I told you I'll give you $1,000 a week for your comedy, 50 weeks out of the year, you jump at it in a freaking heartbeat,
Yeah.
right? What is that? It's $50,000, no
That's,
health insurance.
that's right. It's not
Um,
a lot.
like you don't even get vacation pay, and you're taking it just so you can go out and probably get another job and do that now because
Right.
you need another job. And there's so
Yep.
many people that are stuck at that $50,000, $40,000. It's like, okay, I'm making money out of it, and people are always like, wow, oh wow, you made that much? That's pretty
Right.
cool. I wish I could do
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to show up and make $600 to do a half hour and 40 minutes and split, and go back home.
That's the good shit.
But the years that it takes to get to that, you know what I'm saying, to put on your friends. So
Yeah.
everybody, you get a nice budget for everybody, and everybody goes home with a couple
Yeah.
$100 in their pockets. It takes years to
Right.
get to that.
It really does.
And you
It
just
does.
stay there for a long time until click, 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 click.
Yeah.
You
And the
know?
thing is, you could get there and then lose it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's the thing. It's just because you got there doesn't, because of my wildness, and I was publicly a little bit drunk and wild for a while. Like I was in a place where I felt like things were kind of getting great, and then I ruin it, and then I'd come back and get great again and ruin it. So I learned quick where you can get hot and get unhot fucking fast.
Yeah, and there's some people with movie credit, and they're high rolling high, man.
Yeah.
Year, 2 years in, man, and then that third year hits, man, and there hasn't been nothing in between that and and your last movie spot, and then you're back in the mix, man. He's one of the dudes back again, trying to get back out there, trying to get.
Yeah. You're like, what are you? You see someone come back, you're like, what the hell are you doing here?
He's back.
What are you doing with us bums? It's like, oh.
You had a great roller coaster ride, but now you're back. You're back, slumming back in the clubs.
Oh, man.
Let me see what else I had for you over here. So what are you working on now?
So right now, I did shoot another episode of Two Comics on a Bench, which should maybe be out in the next week or so. We shot it in my house because it's too cold to be outside.
What's the turnaround on these?
You know what? I the first one, and this is terrible. I'm totally ratting myself out. We shot Two Comics on a Bench August 30th. It was the nicest day of the summer, and we were in the middle of editing 180 seconds. We're actually towards the end of it, because that had a way longer turnaround. I mean, there was just so much more work because of effects and cutting together two different performances. But I shot that on August 30th, and I let it sit till December, till Christmas, just because I was busy doing. All right, we're making sure we're sending 180 seconds to festivals. We're making sure that we're doing cold sends to people in the movie industry. You just kind of like servicing this short. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm like, it's been 4 months now almost since I put something out. So I just sat down. I think I edited Two Comics on a Bench in 2 days, but then I had all kinds of sound problems. But it's a little bit long, especially since I'm not paying anyone. It's me now. My buddy's editing this. I would say it probably would turn it around in 2 weeks. Now, if we had money and we were doing things like to get it out for broadcast, that'd be a different thing.
So you don't know how to edit?
Oh yeah, no. I edited Two Comics on a Bench, the first one, but I didn't want to edit this one because it's tough when you sit down, you're like, okay, I'm the director, I'm the writer, I'm the concept guy, it's my face. Sometimes it's hard to be objective.
Yeah.
When you're looking at yourself, you're like, well, I don't like this because of these reasons that are very superficial, or I don't like my face or whatever. And then someone else goes, wow, that's an amazing moment right there.
It's an interesting thing because, like, for example, we were talking about stand-up. That's a very individual sport.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started working on my solo show and I got a director, Peter Michael Marino,
Mm-hmm.
who's amazing,
Mm-hmm.
it was an extra set of eyes on me, and it really changed my performances from that point on forever.
Right.
And you don't realize it. I mean, having anybody critique you, we're all. I mean, I'm thin. I'm thin, thick-skinned. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? When you peel the scab away, it hurts a lot. But then I lick my wounds a little bit. I chill out. I think about it. And I'm like, maybe this dude's right. Maybe
Right.
she's right.
Right.
I'll try it. But I'm always going to be resistant. How dare
Yeah.
you challenge my brilliance? And then,
Right.
but you're just giving me another idea. And the more I listened to him, the better I got.
Of course.
So I want to do that for other people too. I'm like looking to find somebody who's writing a solo show and help them get it up to the point where they're looking for a director.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not
Man.
up
Yeah.
for directing yet, but I'd like to help them with the writing aspect of it and the staging of it and all that stuff. That you know what? Just as long as you you have a new passion. Like I'm going in this direction right now of I really enjoy telling my stories. I got to figure out how to do that, put together another solo show.
Right.
I want to help people put theirs together, almost like become like a producer,
Right.
maybe even get into the directing aspect of it. I don't
Right.
really know that much of it.
I mean, you just have to do it. I mean, really,
You have to have a vision for it. I have a vision for it in my head, the way things should be written or the story that you want to tell. That's where I'd rather step back and let somebody else
right.
tell the story, but or direct a story
Right.
now where I'm at right now.
Right.
Maybe later on I'm going to want full control, but there's a couple of people that have great stories, and then I'm trying to like encourage them, right? At least get something down on paper, and then we'll work it together. I can't
That's the hardest thing. If it's not on the page, it's not on the stage. And that's, a lot of comics actually hit me up since I've been putting this stuff out, and they're like, oh man, I want to work with you. I want to work with you. And I was like, well, listen, I'm kind of doing my thing. If you have something, you want to shoot, send it to me. I'll read it. If I like it, I'm in. If I'm not going to do it. And, there's a few people who sent me stuff. It wasn't very good, and I felt bad. And of course, the dicks see you after that, but that's just life. But then there's a lot. I mean, 90% of the people, you go, you have anything written down? And well, no, it's just in my head. It's just in my head. And I'm like, you're never going to make it then. If you don't write that shit down, if you're not writing shit down, it's just never going to happen. It's just never going to happen.
It's the weirdest thing. I try to encourage people, and I'm guilty of it as well, but I'm like, write it down and finish it. And I don't care how horrible it is. At least you have a starting point.
Right.
And once you have a starting point, I can't tell you how many times we edited my script. If it was 50 times, it was probably 100, really.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Changing a line here or there. So it's just this living, breathing thing now that's evolving into something else.
Right.
But it has to have its thing, no matter how good or bad it is. And it's the hardest thing in the world to do is to sit down and actually write it out.
You got to handcuff yourself to the goddamn chair.
Yeah.
And if you got to handwrite it, if you're a handwriter, do it. This is the thing, I'll tell you, it finally got me going. I mean, I write in my phone every day now.
Me too.
Every day. And now I'm writing, like I recently hung out with my ex a little bit, and it brought up all these emotions. All that shit is written down. So I'm not bombing her with it. I'm not bothering my friends with it. I'm writing it down. I'm just processing everything in writing now, just because then if something comes up, I'll be like, oh, I want to do something about that. That shit's already there. It's like,
I have 1,000 also videos. Like I'll go outside and I'll start talking about something to myself,
Mm-hmm.
And the way I do it, I just keep going over it and over and over it again. A story, a joke, an idea, an opinion.
Right.
And then once in a while, I'll start recording it. Like, and I'm usually fucked up when I'm doing this. You know what I'm saying?
It's okay.
But I work on these stories and these opinions and these ideas over and over and over again because I don't trust my first take
Right.
at it.
First iteration. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to get my thoughts together so I don't sound as stupid as I really am.
We all do that. Come on.
Yeah, you hear that stupid thing I just told you? That was rehearsed. I rehearsed that 1,000 times before you got it. Can you imagine the dribble it was before then? But really, if you're going to be an orator, a public speaker in any form, you have to rehearse. You have to practice.
Absolutely.
And I do a lot of that talking to myself, figuring out my ideas, putting my thoughts together. And then either I write them down, I record them, or I voice record. It depends on what mood I'm in. Sometimes I'll voice record it. Sometimes I'll video record it.
As long as you capture it. And this is the thing. There's been a few times where I've actually gotten like really angry because I'll think of something. I'm like, that's something good. And I'm driving. I'm like, well, I can't do it now. I'm driving. I got to wait. Or I can't pull over here. I'm on the highway. I got to wait. Or I get off the highway. God damn it. I don't remember it.
I have to keep saying the words over and over in my head again. Like, the tool was in the shed. The tool was in the shed.
Yeah.
The tool was in the shed. The tool was in the shed. The whole drive until I get to the exit, because those are the key words, and I remember everything else. And I'm just trying to get there because I don't have the pen, the paper, whatever I need. I know exactly what you're going through.
Bro, it's so terrible. And you're like, I know that was gold. I'm like, and then there's times where I'll say, hey Siri, type this in a note. Fucking intelligent. No, I don't know what the hell she just said. She's just gibberish. And I'm just like, all right, I'll read the note that she wrote. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's just like they say in Blade Runner, gone like tears and rain. That's it. It's over. But that's what our job is I kind of try to capture these ideas. Like, like for Two Comics and a Bench, those are all just one-liner things I thought of over, a 6-month thing, and I'm like, the next one's crazy. I'm saying some really crazy shit. And yeah, it's going to be fun. The next one's fun. It won't look as good because we're in my house and, you can only, my DP skills weren't as shooting outside with the depth and the city going on. That shit is beautiful. In my house, I was like, it looks all right, whatever.
Did you put a green screen? What you doing? You on a bench and a green screen?
No. I have a leather bench in my crib that I bought just to photograph. And I took my couch out and we're sitting on a bench in my living room. So it's still technically Two Comics on a Bench. Greer came over and we shot for like an hour and a half. So,
hey, before we wrap up, I want to do one of those portraits, man.
Listen, I actually hit you up. I said, come over and get headshots, mofo.
Yeah, I will, man.
Dude, that's open. That's an open.
Where are you?
I'm in Brooklyn. I'm right below Park Slope, Windsor Terrace. I'm by Greenwood Cemetery.
Yeah, man. I could do any Thursday or Friday during the day, man.
Let's see.
During the day.
Not this Thursday, but next Thursday. Oh, wait, let me double check. Hold on. I'm doing the shoot for, okay, hold on. So we're going to have to
do this off. We'll do this off the thing.
First Thursday in March.
Yeah, I need a new, and I, listen, like we started off the show, so we'll close out on it. One of the things you really have to start getting comfortable with as you get older too is aging.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really tough thing.
It is. You
know what I'm saying? Especially if you were as good looking as I am.
Yep.
And
it's the truth, man.
Like you.
Yo, you and me.
You still have your face together. I just put this shit underneath my eyes.
Yeah.
It hasn't sunk in yet. I don't know why. But it also keeps my eyes watery for 2 hours. I don't even know if it's worth it, but I got these big bags underneath my eyes.
Well, don't worry. I'll take those out of your photos. But listen, I think we're both a part of that crew where, like, if you look at us, like, I know women look at us and go, oh, yeah, 20 years ago, those fucking guys, the formerly attractive. And it's not that we're formally attractive, but, we can't look.
That's actually a good idea for a show. I'm going to write that down, formally attractive.
That's it, man. The formerly attractive. It's like, you're like
all good looking people.
That's it, man. 20 years ago, every single person in this crew was fucking delicious.
Yeah. Now look at you.
It's it. It happens, man. But no,
Uh,
aging is
it's,
hard.
it's,
Aging is
it's,
hard.
yeah, it's tough. I think a guy gets away with more, especially if you got a couple of bucks. You could let last it, run it longer course.
Yep.
You never get it as hard and heavy. That patting on the back and the constant massage, ego massage that a woman does, because that's from 12 to like you really like 28, 30 years old. They're getting
That's
boom,
it.
boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah,
boom,
yeah.
all day,
Hammer.
every
Yeah.
day. I'll never get that. I don't care how good looking you are. Even
Right.
Robert Chambers, he got his, but
Yeah.
it's but then it kind of sort of then it goes, what I was doing right here, then you hit the wall. Bang.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
It's tough. I was making jokes. I have all kind. I was making. See, this is why I had to stop doing comedy. I was like, what the hell was I saying? It was like women in their 40s look like mummies unraveling. You're like, oh, it's like terrible. I was like, I don't know, man. It's tough. Yeah, they age tough. They age
yeah,
tough.
but you know what though? We'll end on this. It's still it's the course of life,
Yeah.
and you have to be able to accept it. You know what I'm saying? So we go back. We'll close out on that thing. We're doing the portraits, and here I am, a guy, and I know when you take my portrait, I'm gonna be like, oh man, because
Mhm.
in my head, I don't have all this. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
You have to help me out a little bit on in
Oh
the
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I still had the hairline that went straight across, not one side fading out. I had all those things, and that's the way I still am in my head. That's the way
Right.
I maneuver through my day like this badass. And then I see what I really am. I'm like, oh shit, what the hell happened? And
It's
it's even worse if you hang out with young people,
right.
or
Right.
because then you really see, like, if God forbid your image. I did this kid's podcast, this kid, Mike Cologne, he's great,
Yeah. Yeah.
young kid, journalist. And I'm looking at us, the juxtaposition of our two faces,
Right.
and he looks so young and I look so old. And it's tough, man. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy. You got to get used to it, man.
You just got to hang out with old motherfuckers, and then you look great. That's
Yeah,
what you got to.
keep up in your game. Like, I'm looking for 65, 70-year-olds right now to
Let's
chill.
say you gotta only hang out with the geriatric niggas. You'll just be like, yo, I'm young and beautiful.
Yeah,
So
man.
it's
So what is your prediction? How much longer do you think we have before we're able to go out and run amok?
um I mean, everything goes slower than you think. I mean, it's crazy. Right now, while we're talking, people are like dying in Austin. I don't know if you know what's going on. It's
With the windmills?
well, yeah, the turbines are frozen. There's no power. I mean, my good friend of mine, I'm checking on her every hour. She's not had out. She has no power for 30 minutes. 30 minutes, 30 hours. It's 15 degrees. The roads are snowed and ice. And that place is just, they don't have the infrastructure to deal with snow and ice and cold. And I mean, it's funny. I used to do papers on infrastructure in high school. I was a little bit of a nerd. I did some debate stuff, and we were talking about how the American infrastructure was failing in the 90s, badly. We were like, this is a bad thing in the 90s, and the work hasn't been done to fix it. So we got the failing infrastructure. You got this shit going on. COVID, we're not going to be okay till, what is this, 2021? 2023.
Wow, that's pretty optimistic of you, man.
I mean, just in the sense of us being able to go out. I'm
No,
not saying things to be okay. That's a decade.
I think it's going to happen a little bit quicker than that. I just see what's going on, and I see the people going out already, and there's special places you can go to. And my son's been out 2 clubs, saying name at the door, a lot of that, and it's just going to compile until people are going to accept it. I know, but then again, at the worst of it, right now, it's like, you could always argue the death rate isn't what it is, what they promised us.
Right.
And there is a vaccine out. You had your opportunity to get it. If you chose not to, that's your prerogative.
I'm trying to get it. I can't get that
I'm
shit.
just saying that's going to be the argument that's going to be made in a couple of months.
Right.
Once you see that you can go to a clinic and they're like telling you, come, we have the vaccine, and nobody's showing up, or you can just get in and get out, no problem.
Right.
Once that's like that for a month or two, everybody's going to be like, yo, what are we doing? And I think also too, a lot of these big cities are hurting. Like right now we have Cuomo is going to be going through hell and back right now. I don't know if he's going to be able to save himself.
No.
So in the meantime, why not let people do what they want? So this way I can look like a nice guy again. I think that's the next move. Open up everything else to 50% and get everybody happy with him so they don't want to kick him out.
Right.
That's going to happen there. And then in regards to the turbines, I mean, could it happen at a worse time when you're trying to push this current administration's agenda? They're over here wanting to cut out all this fossil fuel and all these gases that I don't really, it's too complicated for me. But
Right.
at the same time, we have a perfect example of what could go wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
really, right at the beginning of an administration that's really trying to push this agenda,
Right.
people are going to be like, whoa, we can't move that fast because we got to figure out this part. Because it gets cold or because it gets
Right.
too hot, we can't have all our power sources running out when the wind doesn't
Right.
work or when the wind is
Right.
frozen.
Right. See, it's so tough, man, because it's like, yeah, it's like, you know, the green option has failed, you know.
Well, I think it's a direction to go in. I just
Oh no, for sure, for sure. No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but just like it's just bad timing. And like places like Austin now know, like, yo, maybe you should have some trucks with some plows and some salt. I know it's expensive and you got to let
that
it
happened
sit.
in Dallas too. I don't know that snowing is the effect. I think people are gonna remember Dallas had a huge problem with snow a couple of years ago. So
Right.
they haven't learned their lesson. They're not going to buy the equipment. They don't even borrow it from anywhere close. But
Right.
the fact that the electricity went out,
Bro.
the fact that they're losing power because of these turbines that are frozen, that is a major problem because you have to have a backup system and you don't because it's frozen and there's nothing you can do, unlike gas or oil.
Right.
So you have to have a world where we're using both.
Yeah.
And this idea to just completely get rid of anything, just you know.
Yeah.
So that's an argument for another day.
Yeah. That's
hey, Perry, man, I just want to thank you for taking the time out and spending a little, giving me a little bit of
anytime
of your time, your attention. I mean, I think we had a great chat. I really enjoyed it.
Man.
I think you're
Anytime,
an
dude.
amazing dude, bro. I think you're very, very talented.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
And obviously, I wish you all the best, man.
Well, I'm going to see you first week in March. You're going to come over and do some photos.
I'm there, man. I need this. I need this bad. I'm
dude.
2 weeks to get in shape too.
Dehydration. We just no water the day before, yo. We're gonna dehydration cuts, yo. Put you in a tank top. No, we're not doing that. All right, buddy.
I'm gonna carb deplete then carb load. I just been missing the depleting part. I just been carbo loading.
You just look, man. This is that time. It's cold. You want to be cozy? You got a girl? Forget it. Come on. If I had a girl right now, I'd be 20 pounds heavier right now.
Yeah. Well, anyway. All right, I gotta run, but thank you again, man. And we'll talk again soon. I'll see you soon. 2 weeks.
Yes, brother.
Later, brother. Thank you.
Bye, babe.